So in this video, we're going to be going over Sports Rehab Expert split squat progressions. Just something to note, a split squat means your feet never leave the ground. A lunge denotes that you're actually stepping. This is why it's called a split squat, because our feet remain in place the whole entire time as we shift our weight forward and backwards. So the first progression that we take at Sports Rehab Expert is just using body weight. During our workouts in the longevity program, you'll see us program these body weight split squats initially on a 12-inch box. Sometimes we promote it even higher depending on how much we need to offload the front leg. So offloading that front leg means that you're going to take some pressure off of the knee to make this more comfortable. Now, the goal of this activity is to be able to take the knee through a full range of motion and get contact with your hamstring and calf touching each other. Now, you might not start there, but that is the goal, to eventually achieve that full knee over top of the shoelaces, over top of the toe, and get that contact between your hamstring and your calf. Now be sure to stay and watch the whole entire video, because as we progress, we're going to get into how you load the exercise too. So initially in the Sports Rehab Expert workouts, and when I'm working with clients one-on-one, I'm going to start loading this exercise body weight first and foremost, and then when deemed appropriate, or after progressing through the longevity workout in the Sports Rehab Expert plan, the next workout will incorporate loading the split squat. So we'll get into loading in just a moment, so stay tuned for that. But we're going to have a body weight progression where we work our way from a 12-inch box all the way down to the floor, and then we're going to have a different progression of how we dictate adding load and weight from a 12-inch box all the way down to the floor. This has been shown in the research to help with osteoarthritis. It's been shown in the research to help and promote tendon resiliency about your knee joint. Deep knee bending capabilities is very, very healthy for the knee to achieve, and it promotes a lot of knee capabilities and knee hygiene. So being able to do this on a 12-inch box, shifting forward, trying to keep your back leg straight, pushing yourself from one leg to the opposite leg, and then shifting backwards, doing this for the desired number of reps that we have programmed in the Sports Rehab Expert workouts or in your individualized program. Now, what you'll also notice is that we will utilize a slant board with this activity too. What this promotes is that it promotes that heel coming off of the ground sooner, which allows you to get the knee over top of the toe quicker, which ultimately allows you to get hamstring and calf contact more easily. So that's why you will see us utilize a slant board from time to time, and you'll see in the longevity program that we promote it doing without the slant board on one day, and on another day we do it with the slant board. And all of these exercises can furthermore be done at home simply by putting your foot in the stairwell and using a foam wedge at home or a foam slant board at home. Very cheap, easy to purchase off of Amazon. And what you'll notice when you do this, you're going to get a bigger Achilles stretch. Your calf is going to work more, but it's going to be a little bit easier to take your knee over top of the foot and again achieve that hamstring to calf contact point. If you don't get full range of motion, don't worry. This is your current starting point, and eventually over time you're going to just progress this range of motion as you feel comfortable. So after doing multiple reps for multiple days, for perhaps even months or years, you'll notice that you can get further and further into this range of motion. So again, we start at a height of a box or in the stairwell at home, at a height that you feel comfortable working on through your current knee range of motion capabilities, never pushing through any sharp or pinpoint pain or any type of pain that lingers. You should just feel generalized pressure that goes away when the exercise stops. And then gradually over time, we will work our way down, both utilizing a slant board, kind of working your way down on the steps, or utilizing various different box heights and implements in the gym to raise your foot up off the ground until eventually you work all the way down to the floor. A common progression that we take many people through is from a 12-inch box to an 8-inch box to a 6-inch box to a 4-inch box to a 2-inch box, and then to flat on the ground, all while maximally bending one knee and trying to keep the back leg relatively straight. We have a different version of a split squat that emphasizes more of that hip flexor length. That's going to be for a different exercise, so stay tuned to the hip extension dominant split squat that we'll introduce to you later in the Sports Rehab Expert workouts. But right now, just focus on full knee bending capabilities and trying to keep that back leg straight as possible within your comfort. Don't try to force anything to where it gets uncomfortable in your back hip. In my opinion, I would say the full knee bending for a lot of sports and activities is of greater benefit than that last little bit of hip extension. So again, if you're getting some pinpoint pain or discomfort in that back hip, don't force that knee straight, just keep it as straight as you currently feel comfortable with. And through other exercises that we do in the Sports Rehab Expert workouts, as well as the hip extension split squat, you'll start developing that hip extension range of motion capabilities over time. Now, loading of the split squat is going to progress a little bit slower. We work on body weight split squats first and foremost so we can do them frequently and expose ourselves to the positions and the angles necessary to perform a split squat safely. But when we start doing it under load, we want to keep the heel down. So in this video, what you're allowed to do, you'll see a little bit of a plate here. I'm using a 5-pound plate to elevate my heel up off the ground so that I can keep my heel down on a surface. You can also use an Olympic weightlifting shoe that gives you a little bit of a lifter at the heel. That's another way of keeping the heel down to allow you to progress through a loaded split squat, but we need to keep the heel down. If you go without the plate and the heel pops up very slightly up off the ground, that's perfectly fine too. But the moral of the story is we need to keep the heel relatively flat down on the step, and we're going to work our way down to the floor. Now, when you're doing it body weight, you might be progressing quicker. So you might be down on a 4-inch step, but doing a loaded split squat on a 12-inch step as shown here. Or you might be doing a body weight split squat down on the floor, flat ground, but again, allowing the heel to elevate, but you might only be able to do a loaded split squat with the heel down on, say, a 4-inch step. So again, you'll see there's going to be a difference between the body weight split squat and the loaded split squat, but the goal remains the same, working all the way down to the ground, having calf to hamstring contact where we have that full knee bend and keeping the back leg relatively straight, but not forcing it completely straight either and forcing yourself to work through pain. We don't work through pain. We gradually expose the body to more and more challenge over time. So your goal with the loaded split squat is what depth can you go through while keeping the heel down or the heel down on a very small elevated plate or small heel elevation. So depth is first goal, but what you may also notice is that adding a little bit of weight in your hand actually allows you to keep the foot planted on the floor a little bit easier. So don't be afraid to load this exercise either, but you cannot and should not work through pain. So again, this is the importance of starting with the body weight version, doing multiple reps, multiple days, multiple weeks with the body weight version done frequently to expose yourself to this position, to have the resiliency in this position so we can load it comfortably. But don't go to a depth that is uncomfortable for you, and don't utilize a weight that is uncomfortable for you. Find a depth and a weight that is comfortable for you to load at the current moment in time and progress from there. That might mean starting at a 12-inch box. That might mean starting at an 8-inch box with the heel elevation as shown in this video. Some people who have a little bit more mobility, they might be able to start at a 4-inch box with a little bit of heel elevation. And some people can go all the way flat on the ground right off the bat. But again, a lot of people are going to have either a mobility limitation that we got to gradually work through, or other people will have a loading intolerance that we have to gradually work through. So only manipulate one of those variables at a time, weight or depth, and gradually work your way down towards the floor. It takes some people years and years for them to be able to achieve a full range of motion split squat, keeping the vertical torso, keeping the knee over top of the toe, hamstring to calf contact, and a back leg straight. Sometimes that takes people years to achieve. And even with myself, I'm not completely there either, which is why I'm showing you this video. I tend to stop at a 4-inch elevation, or when I do it flat on the ground, I have a little bit of a heel elevation. because that's what my current range of motion capability allows me to do. So once you find that current range of motion capability, then you start adding load. Only when you get to utilizing 30-pound dumbbells in either hand can then you switch to a barbell. 30-pound dumbbells in either hand is being able to tolerate 60 pounds total. Then you can go back and utilize a barbell in the front rack position, allowing you to add more weight over time. The barbell weighs 45 pounds, so you're going to have to regress it a little bit just to get comfortable and acclimated into the new position. But once you get acclimated into that new position, now you can start adding 10 pounds on either side, 5 pounds on either side, going up in 5-pound increments, slowly, gradually increasing the load. And this is what will allow you to, again, gradually load and continually challenging the split squat more and more over time. So the barbell can be introduced at any depth, but realistically, it usually is about the 4-inch step or flat on the ground when someone feels comfortable starting to load with the barbell. Again, the prerequisite to go to the barbell means with whatever depth that you are on currently, you need to be able to do it comfortably and through a full range of motion with 30-pound dumbbells. That's the prerequisite to then go to a barbell. Technically, that could happen at any depth from a 12-inch box all the way down to flat on the ground. Usually when people are at that point in time and have that strength and have that range of motion, typically that's going to either be at a 4-inch step off the ground or when the foot is flat on the ground with a little bit of heel elevation, when the individual will start feeling comfortable utilizing the barbell. But again, only go to that after you've achieved 30-pound dumbbells in either arm and feel comfortable, confident loading the barbell in that front rack position, and then you can gradually, continually load it more from there. Again, this is a process that I've shown in today's video that happens over years. Do not expect yourself to make this progress or make this depth or go from body weight to a barbell in the matter of a 4-week to a 6-week cycle. That just is not realistic. It's not going to happen. And if you try to do it that quickly, a lot of times it's going to end up in some type of injury or some type of discomfort. So don't progress too quickly. Move at your own individual pace.